there. I mean, just because you're pushing all the buttons and getting us on the air doesn't mean you run things in here. My lovely bride of 35 years tomorrow, but who's counting? She is. Imagine 35 years with me. Goodness gracious. All right, send it live. Here we go. In 3, in 2, and Tony Basilio wishing you a great, warm Sunsplash Sunday afternoon as the Volunteers get it done today against Missouri. Win 2 out of 3 after Friday's pretty listless and lifeless performance. And I'm just going to call the shot right here. The freshman Appenzeller changed the weekend for the Vols. And Tennessee came out after Appenzeller shut down Missouri last night, bases loaded, no out situation, and was extremely impressive in doing so. Pierre Seals hits a home run today. 11 straight scoreless innings for the Vols up till that point. Blanco was flat out cruising. Tennessee today with some excellent 2-out hitting, which is something you've got to do. And I thought a very solid series victory for our Tennessee baseball Volunteers, as it's Garza law. Tennessee baseball extra innings. Will Heflin's usually in the hot seat here, but I'm holding it down for him. He was helping John Wilkerson out on the radio today. He asked me if I would do that, and I said, sure, Willie. I said, you're a VFL to the core, my brother. As the Vols get back to level in SEC play, and we're going to look at the standings here in a little bit. Level's not a bad place to be in this league right now because everybody is pounding everybody else, except maybe Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt is getting their eyes drilled shut again by this Mississippi team. So it ain't happening. But let me give you some thoughts on today's game, and then we'll go to the phones. 865-200-5402. And we'll get as many people in here as humanly possible. I don't have Matt Dixon yet. I don't have Willie yet. So I could use some help. Otherwise, you're going to hear me wax poetically and show my level of knowledge. But Mississippi State, Tennessee will be at Vanderbilt next weekend. Mississippi State's up 9-3 on them, and it has been a rough weekend for the Vandy boys, as Dudley Noble Field has not been kind this weekend to the Vandy boys who are putting it on Vanderbilt. So, and then Tennessee's opponent the following week is going to be LSU. So, interesting opportunities for Tennessee against two would-be, should-be very good teams in this league who are struggling, as Mississippi State just plays a couple more runs, going to make it 11-3 now. I mean, they're taking a season beating on this Sunday afternoon. We'll look at some of the numbers as we go. First of all, coming out of this weekend, let me say that Missouri's got a credible baseball team. That's my first thought. Unlike last year's team, who were, I don't know, you tell me. Last season, laughable, comical, non-competitive. This team they have now has got pretty good starting pitching. The kid that went today was excellent for them. And the Vols get their first series win since beating Ole Miss roughly, 46 weeks ago. This is Tennessee's first Sunday win in SEC play since that point. I mean, last year's team was just so odd. So this is a pretty good win for Tennessee. Some people are going to look at it and go, well, Missouri, 2 out of 3 you should have swept. Listen, I agree with King Bino. I'm back to this. Go on the road, give me a game. Last week, Tennessee should have had 2. It hurt. I think they had a hangover from that. A big hangover from that. Appenzeller saved their bacon last night now. And I hope Will Heflin, when he comes in here, admits that. But Tennessee gets a series win, and that's big because that hasn't happened since last year against Ole Miss. and in early April, and we were about to celebrate the 1-year anniversary of that. I don't know if we celebrate such things, but commemorate it, I guess, or at least call it out. But here we are. It's Garza Law, Tennessee Baseball Extra Innings. We'll go to the phones and get as many people in here. I really do believe that we're going to look back, I hope, we're going to look back at the Appenzeller contribution last night, the way we've done with past teams several years back, the night the Vols took off on that Friday night against Vanderbilt. Tennessee just looks like a different baseball club the last couple of days. A lot more confident. It was good to see Krenzel come into the game today. And we'll go through the order as things occurred today. But Krenzel, I thought it was interesting to go back to him in that spot when the game was still in reach. You had Pierre batting and Pierre Seals, rather, who hit the home run to begin with. Their first run, Missouri's first run, and I mean he hammered that ball. But at the end of it all, you look at what Krenzel did, and he comes on in relief in the 8th with 2 outs, hits the first batter, and you're going, oh no. Next pitch he throws to the backstop, you're going double, oh no. And then what happens? What happens from there? Well, nasty backdoor slider to end the inning. And the truth about Krenzel is he's got filthy, nasty stuff, but he's got to trust it. He's got to trust it. And Tennessee did what winning teams do today. You get your opponent you're better than, you get the lead, and then you add on. Myatt's pinch hit home run in the 7th looks like a postscript in the box score right now. It's a big hit when it happened. Gives you some breathing room. So, I thought a pretty stellar weekend for the Vols. Your observations, your thoughts are welcome. 865-200-5402. Shout out to Marcos Garza and the Garza Law Firm. As Vanderbilt now trails 12-3, bottom of 3. They are getting shellacked. So I would say their confidence is going to be all-time low when the Vols go down there this week. Just absolutely funny to watch this. Not that I want to cheer for the misfortune of others, but that Mississippi State team's going to do this to a lot of teams, though. If you don't think coaching matters, check out that Mississippi State bunch if you don't think it matters. As the Vols roll today, we'll get as many people in here as humanly possible. Willie D's on his way over. Matt Diskin will join us as he can. We're pretty pumped today. Of course, Tennessee and Virginia here in a couple and a half hours. And I'll be back in here tonight, hopefully celebrating a win and celebrating to the wee small hours of the morning with you on Garza Law, Tennessee Basketball Extra in. No, we call that overtime, don't we? We call that overtime. So the Vols win 7-1. We'll look at some of the numbers here in a second. Let's go to the phones. I want to shout out Marcos Garza, my Garza Law Firm, online at garzalaw.com. Also, shout out to our friends at Proper Popcorn. I met the boys and hung out with them over the weekend. They've jumped on. They're supporting the show. They have 2 locations, downtown Knoxville in Market Square. So next time you're in Market Square, pop in there and say, hey. And I did say pop. Pop in there and say, yo, what's up? Thank you for sponsoring Will Heflin's Tennessee baseball podcast called Weekend Rotation when he decides to do it. And also, shout out to you, Will Heflin. People are watching, people are listening, and I expect you to be dropping up 2 this week, you clown. Getting us ready for the Vandy series. Will we take weeks off, Will? Is that how this works? Willie? Is that how this works? Also, shout out to my friends at Proper Popcorn. They've got a spot, West Knoxville Shops at Franklin Square. You can also order online, properpopcorn.com. Every patch of popcorn made on site at the shops. And they gifted me a really sweet sampler. Oh my gosh. Let's go. from the classic caramel, which I got to tell those guys, Anthony was going on a trip to Peru, and he absconded my caramel popcorn. But the chocolate zebra drizzle's unbelievable, Andy. And the cheddar is unbelievable. The white milk chocolate, unbelievable. Go! Thank you, guys. Let's go to the phones. Now, I've got a hot tooth, okay? They've got spicy buffalo as well. And I was shouting out my man Brad today over at your Copper Cellar Corporation, who's listening to us right now. Shout out to Calhoun's, your Taste of Tennessee. But I was like, he's kind of jonesing for some popcorn himself. He's like, Heflin was talking about it last week and made me hungry. I said, that's kind of the point. Proper popcorn. Let's go to the phones. I want to celebrate today's win. Tennessee is 7-1. Evan Blanco improves to 2-2 on the year. He's such a quality hand on Sundays. You give the ball to him. And look, what Tennessee's hoping is he returns to 2024 form. That's the hope with him. Last year he had an injury he nursed throughout the year, and it inhibited him. But he looks very confident. He looks a lot better. Let's go to the phones. We're going to get in the mixing in the hunt as Will Heflin's on his way here. Hello and welcome in. You are on our Garza Law Extra Innings. Hi.
Hey, Tony. It's Tony.
Hey, Tony. Welcome in.
Great to close an SEC series on a Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
And, with Blanco on Sundays, I don't think that's going to be a problem like it was last season. We should have closed last Sunday out.
Had it won. Yeah, this should be a 4-2 team. But in this league, you look at the standings, 3-3 is going to play right now in this league. 3-3 is going to play.
Hey, you tell that to Lord Dark Helmet and the Vandy boys. Tough scene for them.
Yeah. What do you think's going on there? What's your take on what's going on at Vandy? I mean, Tony Vols left. There's no question. Tony Vols totally stole the absolute spirit out of that program. He comes. There was a new sheriff in town. But you would think that Corbin, the thought was they thought they had a pretty good club coming into the year. What do you think's going on there?
Well, they don't have the scholarship advantage like they used to now that there's NIL,
Yeah.
Hey, and, I know this is a baseball call-in show, but what about Nebraska tearing them up last night with that late 1-3-1 zone?
Buddy, is anything better than that?
Dude, you had just talked about it all
week.
All week.
It's good to see some coaching, isn't it?
When they meet at the postseason bruncheon, I know what the Nebraska coach will be saying.
It's nice to see some coaching. Yeah, hit it.
Grinlinger, he's got to be in the lineup, Tony.
Mm-hmm.
That dude can hit.
Grinlinger, the two freshmen yesterday completely altered that game. One guy with the bat, one guy pitching. And here's the thing about this Tennessee team. If these veteran players don't get off their ass and show some life, that's exactly what's going to happen as we go. It has to happen with this team. They've got so much quality depth and so many young pieces. Hitting-wise, you've got to get the guys in there that perform. I was glad to see them get Abernathy off the field finally. No offense to him, but when you're not performing, you can't play at this level.
Yeah, and that's going to happen to Newstrom as well. You just can't keep a guy like Grinlinger on the bench. He's hitting too well. And, as good as our starting pitching is, Appy and Arvidsson are studs, left-handed studs coming out of the pen. This team has a lot of high upside. If I want to make a critique, you got to get Grimmer. Got to get Grimmer out of that leadoff spot. He's not a leadoff hitter. You can tell he's not comfortable there.
Right.
The lineup has a dearth of lefties anyways, so it really doesn't make any sense to have Grimmer up there leading off.
Uh-huh.
And I think Levi Clark is kind of getting going. I think, you got to have him in the lineup, I think, from now on, whether it's at DH or whether it's at catcher or whether it's at first base. But it made no sense not starting him on Friday night.
I could not agree with that more, especially when you consider that the last time out in real competition, he gave you two solid hits late in that Georgia game and was almost a part of the huge comeback. I don't understand why he wasn't in the lineup Sunday. And I'll tell you something else about Levi Clark. which is something that my smart guys here have really picked up on, the Matt Diskins of the world and also Will. For some reason, he's a much more locked-in hitter and has better at-bats when he's catching. Now, I would like somebody to please explain that to me, but when he's catching, and here's another little issue here. Lawless today continues the last couple weeks to rake the baseball. He was 1 for 2 today, raked this weekend again.
Yeah, you got 4 catchers, and you got to find a way to get all of them in the lineup.
What are we doing here? All those years, Tony. Hey, Tony, all those years we had no catchers. Now we have 4 guys that are playable. Like, is this some kind of joke? What are we doing here?
Yeah, I don't know, but you gotta find a spot for all of them. I got a little theory about the Levi Clark thing. I think when you're playing catcher, that's a cerebral position. You're always thinking.
Yep.
And maybe part of the reason why he was in that slump early on, he was just doing too much thinking. And when he's catching, he's thinking about other things. He's not. Yeah. I don't know. Either way, man, he's one of our top prospects. When he starts breaking out of a slump, you got to leave him in there, which is why I know we won today, but I would have liked to have left Grinlinger in the lineup. I just feel like this is one of those things Elander maybe is going to learn as he goes along, is when you get a guy hot, when you finally get somebody coming out of a slump, leave him in there. Let him breathe a little bit.
Let him cook, as we say, right?
Yep. All right, hey, let's cook it up this tonight. Big game. Coin flip for the Sweet 16. Let's go.
Straight up coin flip. That's how I say it. I was playing music in the park yesterday, and somebody stopped me and said, "Hey, what's going to happen?" And I'm in a different headspace then. But I looked at that person and said, "Hey, in my opinion, you're taking a coin and you're flipping it in the air." Matt Diskin is going to join here in a couple minutes. I'm looking at the SEC standings, and the Vols are going to come out of this thing. Right now, 3-2, or 3-3 rather, through 6 games. Auburn was 4-1 coming into today. You tell me what they've done so far. The SEC apparently can't afford to do this. We'll go through the scores here momentarily. But Auburn was 4-1 coming in today. Georgia 4-1. We gifted them a 4-1 start. I'm not going to belabor that. I really hope that this young coach please learns from that. Please. Kentucky's off to a 4-2 start. Oklahoma's off to a 4-2 start. The Vols are right there at 3-3. Mississippi State 4-2. Vanderbilt after today is going to be 2-4, and Vanderbilt is going to fall to 13-12 on the year. Now, Coach, that's a tough putt, Coach. Matt Dixon, your thoughts on what we've witnessed as Matt Dixon now joins the fray here, presented by our friends at your Garza Law Firm, online at garzalaw.com. Your go-to law firm when it comes to, when it's all on the line, DUI defense, criminal defense, personal injury. Maybe you have a Social Security or maybe a disability issue. They can take care of you. Maybe it's something else that I didn't mention, but any of a myriad of disciplines related to the law, the Garza Law Firm is going to treat you with a servant's heart and going to serve you like your family itself. 7-1 final for the Vols. Matt, your thoughts on what we witnessed? That was a big win for Tennessee to come back and get, and I think Appenzeller, we might look back at this and say he changed the fortunes here. I know he changed the fortunes for this weekend, Matt, but I want to believe this Tennessee team took a step in the right direction this weekend, coming back and gutting out a win yesterday, and then really gutting through today's game. Because one of the things I said, Matt, as I bring you in, Missouri has a credible Southeastern Conference-looking baseball team right now. Their starting pitching's credible. Their defense looks credible. They don't look like they have the greatest hitting in the world, which is kind of what we thought. But, Matt, they're going to win some games in this league this year, I do believe, looking at them. And
absolutely. I think they can probably, somewhere between 8 to 12 wins in league play is very attainable for them. But like you said, really good starting pitching. But, obviously the big thing is Tennessee wins the series.
Yep.
Which is the goal every weekend, and especially at home. Tough one Friday night, but they bounced back really well.
Yep.
Played really clean again. today's game was just an impressive game. Props to Evan Blanco for being uber efficient and getting that game over quick. Clearly, he wants to watch Tennessee, Virginia hoops here in a little bit.
What a great poll by you!
It's a really good weekend.
Who are
to build on?
Sorry, Matt, you got me excited there.
No, you're good. Continue to build on a lot of the positive things you had in Athens. This team continues to do a lot of little things really well that even some of the past teams these last few years, kind of struggled at. This team can manufacture runs in a way they haven't in the past. The defense, especially the middle of the field, has been really good and the best in a number of years. Mm-hmm. And your starting pitching outside of Coons on Friday night has been really solid and gives you a chance to win. Every game it feels like so.
Hey Matt, one thing I want to ask you about.
Got to find a little bit more power at the plate.
Yeah,
but a lot of encouraging signs still.
I got to ask you about Coons, and I know Will's going to be in here, and you guys are going to go over this, but I'm just going to ask you. They've got a plethora of arms. Okay, it's like an embarrassment of riches. They've got a kid that's a freshman who pitches midweek games who's next level. You and I both know that. I got a buddy that's 25 years in Major League Baseball tells me, so Tony, that's our best arm. Matt, now Coons last year had a nice start, and then he just sort of, got kind of lost in the sauce, so to speak. And he's a fellow Pennsylvania boy like me, so I kind of feel for him. But, man, he got tattooed Friday night, Matt. How long do they go with him? What do you think? Do you think they're considering it internally, or because we don't know this about this young coach yet, or Reynolds?
No, I think it's way too early to be entertaining that. He struggled Friday night, and they had a really quick hook with him, which is interesting to do that on a Friday night to pull your starter after just 3 innings, even though he didn't have it and his pitch count was like in the 60s already. But that was a curious move that wound up working out and paying off for you. But you continue to let him go there on Friday nights for, at least a couple more weekends. So long season still, especially when you talk about these freshman arms that you potentially want to have increased roles. You'd prefer those guys to step into those roles the back half of the season, as opposed to now. But Appenzeller, that was massive. Bases loaded, jam, no outs, and you get out of it. And like you kind of said, and I think we had talked about in our text group, that could be a kind of a season changing moment, because that's the first time the crowd really got into it this year, and that was fun to see. Should be a lot of fun your next home series when LSU comes here. That should be jam packed for 3 days. That will be incredible.
Wow!
But Coons has been pretty solid for the most part this year, and I think you continue to use your same rotation for at least the next couple of weeks at minimum. But again, I love Blanco on Sundays. That's such a valuable guy to have in those game threes when typically your bullpen's a little depleted. You can always, it feels like you can count on him to give you 5 quality innings at least. And today he, a career high and again was uber efficient. It was interesting because, all weekend, the first 2 games, Missouri was really, making Tennessee pitchers work. They drove up pitch counts. They fought off pitches. They did a whole lot of good things. And then today they were a little too aggressive and they had a lot of quick outs, which, played into Blanco being able to just kind of be really efficient and pitch into the 8th inning.
Excellent observations from Matt Dixon, who you read over at tclub.team. Tell your friends about how after every series finale, we're on with Garza Law Extra Innings. Will's getting rave reviews for the work he did on the radio today, as I knew he would. Will Heflin's he's an international superstar. He better put a damn podcast out this week. But he's an international superstar. We're going to go to the phones, get as many people in here as humanly possible, as we've already started off with Tony on the phone lines. Let's go back to the phones. All lines are jammed. Hello and welcome in as we celebrate Tennessee winning a series at home and getting back to 3-3. They will go to Vanderbilt next week, who looks like they're working on a 2-4 record as they're down 12-6 right now, but they did just hit a 3-run home run to cut that lead to 12-6. But it's in the middle innings there, and they're going to give up a ton of runs before this thing's over. They might get a 20 spot put on them. Hello and welcome in. You're on the air.
Tona, Matt, it's Bobby.
Hey, buddy. Welcome in. Welcome in.
Thanks for being there. I know you're going to be working late tonight too, Tony, so thanks for being there, man.
Yep.
A few observations. I mean, you and Anthony, the caller, and Matt have pretty much hit on everything, but I was blown away to realize this is our first series win dating all the way back to April the 13th of last year.
It's wild, isn't it, man? Doesn't seem possible, does it?
No, because we were pretty good last year. Mm-hmm. Not great, but pretty good. You know, we don't run into that Arkansas team in a super regional, and we probably go back to the College World Series, honestly. And I feel like this team kind of has that same kind of mojo. I will say, and maybe correct me if I'm wrong, this team isn't nearly as fun to watch as our last 3 or 4 teams have been. They kind of, honestly, they're a little Punch and Judy. Do you agree with that?
Well, they've got to start hitting the long ball. Matt said that. I mean, look, if you want to compete in this league, Matt, you've got to be able to hit the long ball. And their long ball hitters, for whatever reason, are just struggling at the plate, Matt, to make solid contact.
Yeah.
Yeah, and, I mean, even two of the home runs today literally barely got out. But I mean,
wall scrapers
obviously counts. But you know, you've got to hit home runs to win in the SEC and advance in the postseason. So that is a little concerning that they haven't done that quite to the level they have previously.
I like this team from the perspective like Matt was talking about. There's a lot of inside things this team does well. They did some situational things today with two outs that I thought were very good. There seems
stealing with Chapman was pretty ballsy.
Very much
to get the run across.
Very
pretty
much
ballsy. Very
much. That's almost an admission that, hey, I'm not very confident in what we're doing here. We're gonna take a chance 100%. Here and get a run across.
Yep, that's exactly what I was thinking when we did that, Tony. I feel like, especially with moving Grimmer to the top of the lineup, totally agree with caller Anthony on that one. I mean, like what is he doing hitting at the top? He seems so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
He's not. He swings at everything, and I don't think that's a bad thing. But you want that further down in the lineup because I mean he makes a lot of hard contact.
Yeah.
But you've got to. I mean, I don't think you put Marin up there. He's hitting too good down in the lineup. You need people in front of him. Ford is not a leadoff hitter, and the leadoff hitter they thought they had, Abernathy, is in a mega slump.
Oh my gosh!
Like he looks awful.
Poor guy.
Him not starting today was the absolute right decision.
Absolutely.
He's and our outfield with him in it. Our outfield with him in it defensively is elite.
Hey, look, I give him a shot at midweek, and if he doesn't hit that midweek game, he doesn't start for me against Vanderbilt. This is meritocracy. I'm sorry.
And we've got a great center fielder if he's not in there. Honestly, the best player on our team right now is Garrett Wright.
He's an unbelievable athlete. Unbelievable athlete.
Did you know he was as fast as he is when he came here? I had no idea he was that fast.
Matt, did you know that he was this quick and this good of an athlete?
I mean, I knew he was a good athlete because you can't play center field and catcher unless you're pretty dang solid. He's been maybe a little bit better of an athlete than I thought. Still would like to see him get going a little bit more at the plate, but he hammers lefties. And he did that last. He just like crushed lefties. Mm-hmm. He's been able to get on base. The hit by pitches are kind of hilarious. But no, he's been really solid, and I think you have to keep him in at center field right now because Abernathy's just really struggling.
I mean, he's still hitting 400, right, Matt? I mean, I saw that today. He's hitting 400.
Yeah.
So I'll take that. But maybe he's your leadoff hitter. Have we thought? I mean, wasn't he our leadoff hitter last week, or am I wrong about that?
No,
This weekend was the first time Grimmer had hit leadoff. It was kind of a curious move. Wright had been the leadoff guy for about 10 games.
And Grimmer at second and Levi at first, that was terrible. I mean, there's a lot to grow on from this team. But here's the one thing I'll leave you with. I got kind of toasted for it yesterday because Appenzeller came in there with bases loaded and shut them out. But I said, it seems as though Elander does not have a feel for his pitchers. I said it when he had walked the second guy. He should have gone and gotten him right there. You cannot let the bases get loaded. Appenzeller is a total freak show. Bring him in one batter before that, and you're not sweating left.
Interesting,
right?
Matt.
So,
well, thank you. That's an interesting point, Bobby. Thank you, and I appreciate the call. Matt, do you agree with him? This guy's going a little long here with these guys. That he should have gotten out there because look, the 2 games before that, if I'm not mistaken, with Blanco, he got stuck 2 outs in the 5th inning. So now you're in uncharted territory with him. And you could tell that he was almost at the end there, Matt. Did they go an extra batter too far?
I mean, I didn't have a huge problem with it there. You kind of ride those guys, and they're just one pitch away from kind of getting out of jams. You had the really quick hook with Coons on Friday night, so I think he only got you 9 outs. So you needed to try to steal some innings with your starters the rest of the weekend, and you did today, obviously. But I didn't mind that with Mac, but it was good that once the bases got loaded, you had to go get him, and that was such a big spot for Appenzeller, who's really talented, but a freshman, and for him to get out of that really, again, could be a season-changing kind of moment there.
Oh, he was
but
back
I didn't have a huge problem with it there. I mean, we can always, you can always criticize the pitching stuff, but they know their team better than we do, and you never know what guys. Sometimes there might be guys who aren't available on certain days, or they don't like a matchup with a certain hitter. And,
yes,
there's just so much that goes into it, and it's a lot of by feel and analytics. There's a balance there, and we'll see. It was curious Friday night. Missouri had guys in the corners with no outs, and Tennessee was in like their shift, which they had never done until this year. And a guy hit a grounder that's a tailor-made 6-4-3 double play, but because of the shift, it wound up being a run-scoring hit. I thought that was kind of curious, but again, it's a first-year head coach who's still learning on the job. I mean, there were a lot of mistakes Vitello made those first couple of years that are totally glossed over now. Once the players got better and they started winning, they could overcome some of that.
And you know what else? It's a great point, Matt. The other point you got to say, when Vitello got those teams that could really mash, you didn't have to be a great strategizer, which, by the way, he wasn't. He was a tremendous motivator / psychologist and an awesome recruiter. That's what he was. I mean, there will never be another one of those dudes. Let's go back to the phones. And so you're right. To be 3-3 after 6 games and have a shot to go to 2-4 Vanderbilt. And Matt, the thing with Vanderbilt is they're not just losing games at Mississippi State. They're getting their doors, if you'll pardon the pun. It's 13-6 now with Mississippi State. Just added a run. Like I said they would rack up some more. And it's a 13-6 game, and they're only through 4 innings. Very curious what's going on in Nashville. Opportunity for Tennessee maybe to steal a series next weekend.
Yeah, potentially. And the Sunday games can get crazy in the league, which is it's funny because a lot of Tennessee's Sunday games have been more lower scoring, which is kind of the opposite of what typically happens. But no, Vandy's been a struggle all year. They lost a bunch of non-conference games early. I think they got swept in their kind of neutral site tournament they went to.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because they've been a really solid program, but what's held them back a number of years has been their lack of power and home run hitting.
Yes.
And they're actually doing that this year, but yet they've regressed in everything else. It's one of those curious things that once it's it's just weird that you can never quite put everything together for one season. You see it all the time in sports, and they finally become a home run hitting team, and they're actually been a worse team overall now, at least to this point in the season.
Back to the phones we go. Hi, welcome in. You're on the air as Will Heflin's in transit. Hi, you're welcome in.
Hey, Tony. Alex and Cookville, how's it going?
Hey, Alex, good to talk to you on Garza Law Extra Innings.
Hey, I thought it was a great win today. I felt like Elander managed the game perfectly by going to get Blanco. I think it was kind of actually the opposite of last Sunday when I think we all felt he left the pitchers in a little too long. So I think it would have been tempting to leave Blanco out there because he pitched the gym today. But I thought he managed the game well, and I think we're going to be in the hunt and in the mix, as you like to say, if we pitch and play defense like we did the last couple days. I think, this team could win, 17, 18, 19, maybe 20 games in the SEC, which would hopefully, put us in a chance to host a regional.
Well, Chris Burke's, the old formula, the old adage, I think it still holds true, especially these days as competitive as this league's going to be. You win 18 SEC games, you're going to host a super regional. You put 18 up on the board, you're guaranteed basically to host a super regional. I mean, they'll create a regional for you to go host. If you get 18 wins out of this league. My thing with this Tennessee team is if they're going to get there, they have to continue to do the little things. Now, this team is so far, they're fielding the baseball very well. Hey, Matt, this kid on shortstop, this Marin guy, his leather right now, where did this come from, Matt? This guy is playing some ball right now, Matt. Oh, I got him muted. I'm sorry. What am I doing? Go ahead, Matt. I'm sorry. He's really, really showing something at shortstop, Matt.
He's been really good. Also, probably been the team's best hitter for the past 3 or 4 weeks once he kind of returned from that hand injury. But no, he's been really solid there at short. Outside of a couple of those early games where Ford had some grounders get by him, you've been really solid on the infield and especially up the middle. It's been kind of a plus defense, which we haven't been able to say since at least 2021. So,
thank you.
No, Marin's the only sophomore that's not in a slump. He's doing really well.
Hey, Matt, or Alex in Cookville, before Matt got in here, Tony made a really excellent point. And the excellent point that Tony made, Alex in Cookville, is that Tennessee's got 3 or 4 catchers right now, and they don't have a place to put all those bats. Now, for years and years, it's kind of like what Matt just said about the offense and defense, Alex. Now all of a sudden we're in a conundrum where we've got all these catchers and don't know what to do with them all.
Well, I think it speaks to how many great athletes we have on our ball club because we're fielding at a really high percentage, and it's not like the same guys are playing the same positions every single day. We're moving guys around, and it really hasn't affected our defense, which I think just speaks to, our pitching is good. And I was worried about, how we would be post Anderson era, but we have talent, and it seems like they're coached pretty well. And if we, like I said, pitch and play defense like we are, we have a chance in every game. It might not be pretty. It's probably not going to be, as fun as it was, but if you look at it too another way, if we just get a couple of these hits when we've got people on base like we didn't last night, even though we won, I think we had the bases loaded twice and didn't get anybody across. So, we're right there. I think this team is not going to be as high box office maybe as it was, but I think it's a really good team for the SEC.
Thank you, Alex. It's an excellent. Any other points you'd care to make?
Hey, no, thanks for doing this, and you guys enjoy this beautiful Sunday. And
Man,
go Vols.
You too, brother. Go Vols to you. And we'll be on with you tonight when the game's over after the Virginia game. Matt brought up a great point. I wonder if Blanco and Henry Ford, Matt, get away to their own little quiet room and cheer on the Cavs, That's transfer portal era sports, man. Who the heck knows, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're probably pulling for the Big Orange today, but it was curious that
Are they?
The Virginia guy got a quick 2-hour game when the Vols and Caps.
Yeah, he was he was pretty motivated. Okay, so it's 13-6 Vanderbilt. Let me give you some other scores, and then I'm gonna bring Will Heflin in here, who's on his way over. Because Heflin, for the uninitiated, was calling today's activity on the Tennessee Baseball Radio Network, and Willie let me know that, and I said, Willie, I'll pinch hit for you, brother. I think I'm probably 1 for 2 with a strikeout, and then I reached on maybe like an infield single. Ball hit me in the ankle, and the umpire didn't catch it, but I'm on first base, and they've scored it a single because it's college baseball, and they missed it on the replay as well. So Tennessee is at Vanderbilt next week, who's going to go to 2-4 after today, barring the unforeseen. They're batting. They've got 2 outs, top of 5. They're down 13-6. Of course, these games are crazy. The Vols lost a game last week, leading 5-0, but there's the third out. The following week, Tennessee takes on an LSU bunch that has been struggling as well, and LSU has a highly paid roster, high expectations, and they've got a 3-3 record. Very curious, Matt, and also Will, what's going on in the league right now? What are we to make of this, Matt? I'm sorry, LSU's 2-4. My bad. They went Tuesday, Saturday. I thought I said 3-3 earlier. 2-4, which I just find remarkable. 2 consecutive weekends, 1 home, 1 away. And Tennessee's got a real opportunity, I think, to win a series next week in Nashville, but they've got to start hitting the long ball with more consistency. Will Heflin, I'm going to jump you in. You're on your way over, and then we'll go back to our phones. Your thoughts on Tennessee's work this weekend, getting home with a series win?
Well, Tony, I'm in the driveway. I'm awfully close.
Oh.
So
whenever
you're ready for me,
I'm ready
I'll jump in there.
I'm ready to take my nap, man.
I've got a ton of thoughts. There's been a lot of good discussion already.
Wow.
Most of it I agree with. Some of it I may have a couple different thoughts.
Good.
But overall, I think you're right. Tennessee does have a chance to win the series next weekend. Yeah,
I look, and as Matt said, Vanderbilt's got an odd squad because I'm watching them here. They're really struggling pitching it, and they're not, Matt. They're not a fundamentally sound Vandy team like we're used to. It's very strange, the pivot they've made. I get why he made the pivot he's made, but it's very strange, Matt, watching them play this style of baseball.
Yeah, they've been booting the ball around the field defensively, a bunch of wild pitches, pass balls.
Yes.
Their Friday night game with LSU last weekend was insane. So, yeah, it'll be curious to see, what they look like next weekend coming off what looks to be a pretty bad weekend in Starkville. But I do want to say, apparently, since Heflin was at the game and on the radio, he's going to have to start doing all these Sunday rubber games because this was the first one Tennessee had won in over a year. I think they lost
Dickens,
7 straight Sunday rubber games.
Who the hell's going to come in here and do the first half hour of this? Because it ain't going to be me. Hang right there. All right, let's get our next call in. Matt, you entertain this caller, and I'm going to go fetch Willie. Hi, welcome in. You're on our Garza Law Extra Innings. Hi.
Hey, Tony.
Welcome in.
Hey, usually, I graduated high school in 2007. Okay, you know what happened that year? That's the last time that Vanderbilt went to the Sweet 16. I'm 37 years old, Tony. So I'm usually saying, go Big Orange, go Big Orange. But yesterday I was screaming, go Big Red. Go Cornhuskers! That was a beautiful thing to watch.
It's a baseball show, Matt.
Do what now?
This call to the bullpen is brought to you by Proper Popcorn. Shout out to Tony Basilio for pinch hitting. It is his deal, so he knows a thing or two about doing it. One thing I will say about Mississippi State, and then we'll get back to the call. I'm sorry for cutting you guys off. Mississippi State's the best, if not, they're two best team in the country. I mean, they are loaded up with arms. They've got.
He hung up on you.
Yeah, he did hang up. Sorry, brother.
He hung up on you. He put it down on you.
I don't even know what he was talking about. I jumped in. Matt, will you finish the guy's thought for him? Because I got no idea.
Oh, you're ready.
Well, I think he was done. I was just adding that yesterday we were all for the Cornhuskers and today we're all for the Cyclone. But that's enough basketball talk for right now.
There's going to be plenty of that. And Tony, he had to get out of here. He's got to rest up. That game's at 6 o'clock. We're going to hang out for a little bit, kind of a nice little bridge before Tennessee goes into that round of 32 matchup with the Who's. Matt Dixon, good to see you, brother. Good to hear from you. You made the point.
I'm just glad to be on here after a series win.
Isn't that crazy, man? Here's the interesting part about it. That was the first SEC Sunday win they got since the Oxford series last year, and that was mid-April. That was the first home Sunday SEC win since Florida, which was week 2 last year. Over a year ago calendar-wise, but same point in the season. And oddly enough, I was in the radio booth that weekend as well. So maybe I do have to – we're going to have to figure something out because, like Tony said, he's not going to be in here for the Extra Innings Garza Law show every weekend. But I do appreciate him pinch hitting for now. There were 2 things I was listening to on the way over I wanted to touch on. I like your point about Appenzeller being a freshman. You don't want to necessarily just throw him in and expect him to give you 100 innings as a freshman. But outside of that, I don't see a reason for him not to be starting on Friday nights. It'd be hard for me just to not make the move now. You said a couple more weeks. I've seen what I need to see. I've kind of been on the Arvidsson train. I would be fine with him. And Coons, I think, would be better served in the bullpen because he comes out, he's max effort. He's 97, 98 for the first inning, and then he settles in at 93, 94. Why don't we just give him shorter outings so he can just come in and cut it loose as long as he needs to?
Yeah, I totally understand that. He's got some emotion. He usually is looking at the other dugout during that first inning when he's dominant. So you can certainly see that he has those traits that would make him a really good arm out in relief. So I wouldn't hate it. I wouldn't make it now. It's I just think that those kind of multi-inning kind of closer guys outside of that Friday night ace and maybe even a number 2 guy that's really good like a Drew Beam. Those are the most valuable arms in college baseball. If you can have a guy like that, I think I mentioned to you about the Texas, Dylan Valentis last year was kind of that shutdown guy for them. And if Appenzeller can be anything close to that for Tennessee this year, that would be really impressive.
I asked him after the game. Well, I asked Elander first. I was like, what is he like? He seems like he has a low heart rate. And, seems like a quieter guy. He's certainly not as demonstrative as Mac or Coons, per se, on the mound. He seems very classic pitcher, focused on the task, not going to get too high or low until the whole thing is done, right? And I love that. I'm a sucker for that. That's the way I wanted to be. I was never as good as Cam, but that's how I tried to carry myself on the mound because I thought composure was the number one thing. And it really is, especially when you're throwing in front of thousands of fans on a Saturday night. And he agreed. He said, yeah, he's a low heart rate guy, but he's a freak athlete. For those that don't know, he's a scratch golfer. He played golf in high school. Okay, he was a really good basketball player, and he's a pro talent pitcher. I mean, the guy's a freak. He's built for the moment, it's not like quarterback. There's plenty of really, really good SEC programs that will throw a guy out there on Friday night as a freshman if they've earned it. I mean, Tennessee did it a couple years with Chase Burns, who ended up going second overall a couple years later, wearing a different uniform, but that's beside the point. I can't speak highly enough of Appenzeller. And I hate to kind of pull him out of that role because it's nice to have that in your back pocket. And bullpens are so important in these SEC series. But you gotta get off to a good start and get some length out of your Friday night guy. And I would like to see how he does in that role because it's pretty obvious that he's going to be your leading candidate to be that next year with Coons being draft eligible. Even if, well, I guess Mac, you probably have two really good options there for next year, but that's putting the cart before the horse. Today, you guys talked about it, the long ball kind of disappeared a little bit. The one Clark hit was stung. It was 100 miles an hour. Did get over the right field wall barely, but the wind was blowing straight in from right. So that was a perfect swing. Would have been out in most ballparks. And all of them if the wind isn't blowing straight in. The one that Garrett Wright hit was definitely, he got it up in the wind and it was able to carry out because it was blowing straight across from right field to left at that point. But that's, hey, you take it, and you need to hit those balls, especially at Lindsey Nelson Field. When it warms up, it starts playing more offensive. But we've seen, I mean, they can score in other ways, but for them to reach their ceiling, Matt, Levi's got to be in there. He's got to provide power. Stone's got to provide power. Henry Ford and Brown obviously have to provide power, and Grimmer has to provide power. And Chapman. Like, they, on paper, it's a powerful lineup, right? Like, most of the guys are 15-plus type home run guys on paper. They just have to go out there and hit them. And you can't expect to win a ton of SEC games if you're not going to have any power. But we've seen, this pitching staff can carry them on any given night, and you'll certainly take that when you can get it. So I do agree with the point. It's maybe not as exciting brand of baseball, but it can be just as fun when you're going far into the season. And a lot of people forget last year's team was number one unanimously 25 games in. They started 20-0. And everybody thought, oh my gosh, they're going to make a real bid at a repeat, and it just kind of got away from them. They weren't good in the bullpen. The starting pitching was hit or miss, and they couldn't find a Sunday guy. And I think we have a Sunday guy, Matt. So there's kind of my initial thoughts. I had a lot on my mind coming straight from the field, listening on the way over. So appreciate everybody bearing with me. Sorry if I repeated everything that was already talked about, but it was a really much-needed series win. I know it was Missouri, but Tony said it, or you guys talked about it. They're more competitive than they have been. They will trip some teams up this year before it's all said and done. I could see them, like you said, getting anywhere from 8 to 13 wins in the conference this year, which it's pretty balanced, man. 3-3 is not a bad spot to be. It's not where you want to be. You'd feel like you should be 4-2, but we could be having a much different conversation today, and we probably would have had Friday carried over into the next 2 days, and we'd be hammering the hypothetical panic button. I'm sure some people were anyway after Friday, but a good series win nonetheless. They win a Sunday game. This is Garza Law, Extra Innings. I'm Will Heflin. Happy to be with you. Matt, let's go back to the phones, brother. Welcome in. You're on the air.
Hey, Will. Hey, Matt. It's Taylor.
Hey, Taylor. How are you?
Good. You stole my stat. So, yeah, just reiterating, the last home SEC series win was a sweep at Lindsey Nelson against Florida, March 16th, 2025, 1 year and 1 week ago. It's hard to believe.
And during the entire run of frustration, they never once got swept.
Yeah, of course, the goal is to win 2 out of 3 at home and don't get swept on the road. But very huge win. I know it's Missouri. As you indicated, this is a much improved Missouri. They were able to obtain the University of Virginia pitching coach, and their starting pitching looks exceptionally improved. And I agree with you. I think they're en route to potentially win 10 or more SEC games if they can stay healthy with those the top three starting pitchers. But I want to ask you about this thought, and then get another question. It seems like all of the positions, for the most part, of course, DH you can rotate based on matchups. Same thing with left field. First base, I guess, question mark there. I think Grimmer belongs there, but you've got to figure out a way to ensure you get both Lawless and I think now Clark's bat in the lineup. I know Bates doesn't have a lot of power, pure doubles hitter, historically hit for average in a lesser league. But why are they not rolling him out there? Newstrom has looked lost at the plate. I think our stud Myatt is better off the bench as a pinch hitter. And Abernathy, I think it's good that he's sitting. He certainly could come back. He's got the skill set. But if it was me on Tuesday, I'm rolling Finley Bates out at second base and see what he can do. What are your thoughts?
It's interesting you bring that up. I was talking to fellow VFL Redmond Walsh pregame, who was on the stream today with Andy Brock, and Redmond brought up the same guy. He was like, man, he's hitting like 500. He's looked good every time he's been in there. He was the Mountain West Freshman of the Year at San Diego State. Not sure why we haven't seen him get more run. And I agree with you both. Now, look, I have been with pitchforks and torches for Chris Newstrom since before the season started, and he just can't seem to get it going. Last year, he absolutely raked lefties. He was in there today against the lefty and did not do anything with it, so that's unfortunate. He's probably going to be pushed even further down the totem pole after today. It's going to be tougher to get him in the lineup. But the Finley Bates question is a valid one, and I don't have an answer for you. I don't know why we haven't seen him more. I wouldn't mind seeing him more because I still think there's jobs to be had around the infield. And, heck, you guys were talking about the leadoff spot. I didn't mind Grimmer being inserted in there. You're searching for something, right? Like Garrett Wright made sense last week. He wasn't great in the leadoff spot. He seems more comfortable down there in the 5 or 6. Jay was struggling so bad you had to get him off the field for a couple days, kind of a reset for him. And I agree with Tony. Give him Tuesday and see. But Grimmer did not look comfortable at all in the leadoff spot. He won't be in there. He won't be the leadoff again. He'll be back in the 4 or further wherever they do it based on the right-left mixture. But Finley Bates is an idea for a potential leadoff spot, especially if you plug him in there at second base, which seems like they're going to go into next weekend still kind of searching for somebody to plant their flag at second base, was the word Elander used on an interview this week. So still jockeying for position, but I like the Finley Bates thought. Matt, do you?
Well, I'll tell you what.
Go ahead, Taylor.
Go ahead.
I was going to say if I'm Finley Bates and I see Blake Grimmer at second base, I'm saying, who did I kick off? Because I tell you what, that may have been the slowest beer league softball 6-4-3 turn at second base by Grimmer I've ever seen. He is absolutely not a second baseman. Bates needs some run. Matt, what are your thoughts?
No, I agree. I was talking with another media member earlier in the week about Bates and why we haven't seen more of him, especially given the kind of black hole your second baseman have been at the plate all year. I would like to see him get some chances, even if it's just some midweek games, just to get comfortable and just to see what he can do with some at bats. I've been curious why we haven't seen as much of him. So I kind of agree.
Taylor, Grimmer's your
don't
Dan
have an
Ugla
everyday
guy.
second baseman right now.
Grimmer is your second baseman. He's Dan Ugla. He's in there for offense only.
Yeah, but at least Ugla was serviceable turning the double play. Grimmer's not. Last thing on the way out, what are your thoughts about this? potentially switching things up. I think Coons is your high leverage right-handed reliever. He's got that demeanor. He loves to blow kisses. He has that high adrenaline, which tends to peter out, no pun intended, in the third inning, or if not sooner. I take a look at moving Mac to Fridays. I pair him with Arvidsson, so Arvidsson could potentially come back and pitch another time over the weekend. I give Appy a run on Saturdays. I pair him with Krenzel, and like I said, move Coons to right-handed relief maybe after another outing. And of course, I think Blanco has certainly shown that veteran poise and go-to on Sundays. But I want to get your thoughts on that. Keep up the great work. Big victory, big series victory. Go Vols.
Hey, thanks, Taylor. Interesting thought, Matt. I would probably, if I was going to insert Appy, I would do Friday, so you've got left, right, left. But I'm just weird about that. I think that's sounds appealing and feels appealing to me. But you could certainly slide Mac to Friday, and yeah, the blowing kisses thing, that's my biggest problem with Coons, man. It's like you can't do that and then give up a 3 spot the next inning. Like you got to understand as a starting pitcher, it's not until you've left the field, like you can get exposed. And Liam Doyle struggled with this last year. He struggled with coming out of the gates, being an absolute madman, and it didn't catch up to him in like a particular outing like right away, but I think it caught up to him by the time they got to postseason. And when he came out of the bullpen against Wake Forest, it's like, well, you need 8 outs or whatever it was, so you can do that, be a madman, sure. And that's kind of who he was to begin with. He could seem like he sustained it longer than Teagan, anyways. But I do think that he would be better served, at least for now, coming out of the bullpen, Matt. But what would you do if you were going to do that move? Would you do like Taylor said and slide Mac up a day, or would you leave Mac in his Saturday slot?
I would probably slide Mac to Friday just because I think you kind of know the consistency you're going to get from him. And him and Coons are pretty neck and neck, very kind of similar pitchers. I'd probably slide Mac up if you can kind of manage that 1 day less rest for 1 week. I'd probably do that. Again, I wouldn't make that move just yet, but I can certainly see why you could make that down the road, because like you've talked about, Coons kind of has that closer type mentality that and we saw this move in 23 with Chase Burns, and it kind of turned that season around when they did that. We'll see how they manage it, but it was just kind of one bad outing. I know his final line at Georgia wasn't great, but he was literally like a pitch away from 5 scoreless a couple of times down there, and it got away from him. And then, Friday night he just didn't have it. But you certainly, you've got to have your Friday night guy be more consistent and get you a lot more outs than what you got this week.
Yeah, but even at Georgia and the few in the non-conference, he hadn't gotten you through the 5th once, and if he had, he certainly didn't get you through the 6th, if I'm mistaken there. Certainly no outing like Blanco today where you're 7 2/3. And I just think they've really found a nice flow in the bullpen. Like, they know what they want to do. They've been consistent with it. Like, Arvidsson's coming in Friday after Coons, and then Appenzeller's coming in after Mac, and then Krenzel's coming in after Blanco. And that's been really effective outside of that Georgia debacle. But you can't rely on that to go perfectly. Like, there's going to be some weekends where things go off the rails and there's a 10-12 game. Like, Tennessee can't expect to play 4-2, 5-2, 8-4 on Friday was a high-scoring game by our standards. And so that would put the bullpen in a really bad spot. And so you need length from your starting pitcher, even if there's some runs scored. Like, I think back to Cheese Dallas, who was Tennessee's Friday guy, my last year, and it was just like you knew when he went out there, he was going to get you into the 6th or 7th. And if they started to get to him, he would throw everything he had backwards, forwards, and sideways to try to figure it out. Like the best Friday guys just know how to get through it, even when they don't have their best stuff. And so that's kind of what makes him the Friday guy, the tone setter, if you will. But Tennessee won a national championship with an opener as their Friday guy, so it's not a deal breaker, but it certainly is how you draw it up, is getting length from your Friday guy, which I think Tennessee, if they made a switch, could get on a more consistent basis. So we'll put that point to rest. We'll see what they do. I know they'll talk about it internally, but you're probably right, Matt. I don't know that we see a change. Certainly this weekend, it may be a couple more weeks until their hand is kind of forced, especially after when you win the series. Doesn't necessarily want to switch anything up if you're a little bit superstitious. And Wilson said Doyle's freak of nature. Yeah, absolutely, Doyle's a freak of nature. Somebody's got to take the bull by the horns. This is the first time I'm reading the Spaces chat or YouTube chat, whichever one I'm looking at, Matt.
That's dangerous. Tony lets that chat kind of dictate the show a little too much.
I love it.
He gets trolled by it a little too much. So.
I need some more recklessness.
And one thing on Krenzel, and obviously last week, and he would shaky Tuesday. How big was that very generous strikeout to get out of I guess it was the 8th today? That was so needed for him.
Generous
after,
is a nice
hitting a
word.
guy. Then you have, it's ruled a pass ball, but it's a bad pitch that the guys at second and third with their best hitter up and got a very generous strikeout call, which I guess balances out Chapman's with the bases loaded earlier in the series. But Krenzel needed that in the worst way.
Yeah, generous is one way to put it. That was terrible. That was a horrible call, but we'll take it. And they did switch it to a wild pitch. It should have been. He yanked the crap out of that. That was not a pass ball on Levi. And you know me, I'll defend the pitchers first when applicable. I am going to read this chat because people don't want to call in, I guess. If you do want to hop in, it's, now I've forgotten the dang number, Matt. 865
200-5402, I think.
200-5402. That sounds right. We're doing Garza Law extra innings. I'm all over the place. Our leadoff feels cursed. There's no curses in baseball. They just need to find somebody to take the bull by the horns like somebody else said. Now I've lost it. Butch Jones, Matt. He said Bates has shown nothing offensively. He literally hits an infield fly half his at-bats. So Butch Jones, has not watched Bates hit very often or has him confused with somebody else. His first at-bat was a home run. That's past the infield last time I checked, Matt. Oh yeah, I'm gonna let these things get me riled up in here. If you don't like that Tony lets him dictate, I got news for you, Matt. Fire up these chats. Let me I want to get into some arguments.
But I thought you were a low heartbeat kind of guy, that you wouldn't let that rattle you.
I am, but I'm in the Ray Mears studio. I'm not on the mound. This is the Ray Mears studio, and we're trying to get ready for Rick Barnes and the Vols taking on the Who's. We got to get the juices flowing a little bit. You know what I mean? We need high heart rate in here. We need Liam Doyle pregame. I'm just kidding. And Will said, way past the infield. Yeah, a home run is way past the infield. It's over the fence. Love that my
even Lindsey Nelson, it's out of the infield.
Yeah, the Cracker Jack box, Lindsey Nelson. The dude doesn't seem to be playing too big today. It's 21 runs. Also, if anybody's seen their crowd, holy smokes. Mississippi State just hit another one. That'll be 15-7. So 22 runs, if I can do simple addition. 865-200-5402. I've got confirmation that is the correct number. Thank you, Matt. If you want to hop in to extra innings, I want to give a quick shout-out to our sponsor, Proper Popcorn. Every batch of popcorn is made on-site at the shops. Over 50 flavors you can sample. Try the Zebra, the Proper Mix, and the Nealon Mix. The Zebra is classic caramel drizzled with both white and milk chocolate. Proper Mix, classic caramel and cheddar. Nealon Mix, spicy buffalo with white cheddar. Orange and white. Or today, cream and white. I had a blast calling the game with Wilkerson. They just don't make him like him anymore, Matt. He does a phenomenal job, and I love all those clips of his Hello Win columns on some of those big wins over the years. The Drew Gilbert one, the national championship one. He's a cool guy to learn from. I feel super fortunate to get to hang out with Tony and our boy Ben McKee, who I get to hang out with a lot, and then calling the game with John was super fun. So it makes it all a lot more fun when they win, and it was a beautiful day out there. So I got no big complaints. Trying to think what else I wanted to touch on. I feel like I've forgotten something on the way over here that I was like, oh yeah, we got to touch on that again, and I can't remember what it was. So if anybody else has anything, give us a shout, 865-200-5402. Vols move to 3-3. They get the 7-1 win over the Missouri Tigers. Also, Taylor, by the way, Matt, nice. He's a ball knower now. And talking about Dickinson coming over from UVA, talking about Missouri staff, I was impressed with some of their arms. They pitched it well. They didn't give Tennessee a ton of free passes. They mixed and matched. And Tony Basilio's entered the chat again. He is on 3. Go ahead, Tony.
Matt, are you sad over this implosion by the Kentucky Wildcats? Or does this make you sad that Iowa State doesn't have their best player and they're still
absolutely not
winning
still
the game rather easily?
A lot of time left, but it's looking good so far.
Kentucky's not a first-half team, Tony.
Kentucky sucks. A great job, Willie. Thank you for coming in here. That's 75 minutes. That's we did a good job today. That's
good. Nobody wanted.
Well, no, it's great. You're competing against the. This leads me to something, guys. Brian Hartman and I think Berkey and different people agree on this. They ought to push the start of SEC baseball season back 2 weeks till after this weekend, this first weekend of the tournament.
Most people don't lock in until basketball's done.
You know that's true, right?
Oh, it was like you get in here, extra innings, and basketball's done. It's full before the game even ends, and now we can't beg somebody to call in.
That's right.
I'm out here wondering why my own mom hasn't called in or something. You know what I mean?
One of your buddies to bail you out. Or Redmond Walsh or somebody.
Shout out to.
Help me out.
Nobody.
How about the airmailing the ball in the center field? This Vandy team is awful defensively. This is a very gettable game here.
My only worry, Tony, is I hate playing a team when they're off a sweep, like a reverse sweep.
That's a good point.
But Vandy's got some real problems. They've lost. It'll be 12 when this one's over. They'll be one game over 500. If there was ever a time to go into Nashville and handle Tiny Tim, this is the year. Put him out of his misery. Tennessee owes him one. Vandy beat us 3 out of 4 last year. It would be a nice series to win. I will admit. I really will admit. If anybody, you guys didn't talk about Georgia.
Yeah. Who we gave life to.
We should have won that series against them, and they went over to Texas A&M and beat the living tar out of A&M.
That's how the sport works.
Well, I think it just means Georgia's really good, and we're better than people think.
And we had a hangover Friday night, too.
We're going to do one more call, Tony.
All right.
One more call.
You do that.
You are the last Garza Law Extra Innings caller. Welcome in.
Hey, guys. Jake from Memphis. How y'all doing?
Hey, Jakey.
I really appreciate y'all doing the show again. I think this was a weekend where we definitely grew up. I really hope this is a turning point in the season. It just feels like it's got to be, right? I mean, our schedule actually is looking pretty decent moving forward. I mean, Vandy isn't normal Vandy. It's going to be tough on the road, but I think it's a gettable series. And then you get LSU at home. I mean, I just, I think that moment that Cam came in and shut them down in that moment, it just felt like the team responded from that. Like the energy that came from that moment definitely carried over into our offense. And I know it's Missouri, but man, that Missouri team's pretty good.
They're credible is what they are compared to what they've been.
We watched Tennessee play Georgia last week, and we watched them play Missouri this week. I think we can all agree that Missouri is not a bad baseball team.
No, they're credible.
And I'll tell you when we play a bad baseball team. Kent State, pretty bad.
Yeah.
Okay, Wright State, not great. Missouri,
unfortunately, we don't play South Carolina.
Yeah,
Did you guys see where they fired Maneri? They fired him. Did they fire him after the third game of that series?
No, they fired him after Friday. He retired on a 22-4 loss.
They fired him too late, to be honest with you.
Well, they should have never hired the guy. That was never going to go any other direction than the way it went.
That poor fella.
I feel great.
Abuse.
I feel great for Elander, guys. Just getting that first monkey off his back, getting that first conference series win has to feel good. And just to break that series streak, the SEC, golly, just to get that behind us.
They're lucky that didn't get more attention than it did, because we're talking about it more now that it's over than when it was going on.
Matt has a great point, though, guys, and this is the truth. You're Tennessee. You get 2 out of 3 next weekend. I mean, it doesn't matter what the record's going to be, but if you can get our oiled-up ballpark, that LSU series, we are going to be out of our minds, Matt.
Amazing.
Out of our minds how much fun that's going to be.
A packed out place. It will be the first real experience in the new stadium, and I can't wait. I've been waiting for it all off season.
They might get 8,000 in that.
No question.
I really think that this Vandy series, though, guys, is coming at a perfect time. Our team knows what we almost did at Georgia. Vandy knows what we almost did at Georgia. And, I mean, we're going to be coming in there, I feel, pretty loose and ready to take it to our rival who gave it to us last year. So I'm pumped for this series. I'm pumped just for the guys, man. You could feel a sense of relief that they got this one behind them. And I just, again, I hope it's a turning point. I appreciate the time, guys. You have a good rest of your day.
Yeah, man, appreciate it. Make the quick drive from Memphis over to Nashville.
Yeah, man.
Go give them hell, and then
come on up to Knoxville. You're at it. Take a week off from work.
Come on for the LSU one. That if they win that Vandy series, that plays for LSU.
I mean, I'm telling you, just 2 out of 3. Just
Jay Johnson is going to be all sorts.
How red ass is he going to be?
Of tied up for that weekend, especially as many guys as they walk. The problems they got in the bullpen, Matt.
Guys, what's going on with them? Are they really this inept with their staff? Is this real, or is this just a bad start for them?
They almost got swept by this Vanderbilt team you're watching. That can't catch a fly ball in the infield.
Well, Matt was talking about that crazy Friday game they had down there.
That was crazy. Well, they climbed out of the big hole just to give it right back. I don't know. It's so week to week in this game, and baseball's so fickle. Mississippi State's really damn good. That much I do know. So with that,
you don't think coaching matters, do you? That guy at Mississippi State.
No,
you don't think it matters?
No, coaching doesn't matter.
You don't think it matters?
Coaching. Look at Schlossnagle at Texas, and look.
You don't think that matters, do you?
Look at what A&M's done as soon as he left.
You don't think that matters, do you?
And people might turn around and say, "Well, you guys had Tony leave." It's like, well, we didn't hire Michael Early to replace him. We hired Josh Elander.
That's true.
He's got a chance to continue the level of output from this team. I'm encouraged by the positive step taken today. I hope everyone else is. Matt, thank you so much for your time. Tony, thank you for pinch hitting and allowing me to come over here.
Hey, Dixon, what are we talking about tonight? A win, loss, or a draw? What do you got, buddy? Because we got Kentucky going off the stage here. We just got a big win in baseball.
Down by 20. I hate to end on negativity, but history says Tennessee and Rick Barnes don't win this game.
And I'm not feeling it.
Would love to be wrong.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. I got some angry emails from people for stating my opinion. I mean, I've always been I'm not here to fluff anybody. Another Iowa State player down, and that's ugly looking. Jeez Louise. He looks out. Look at him. That's scary looking. There, Will.
That was a hard fall.
He pounded his head on the floor.
He got clotheslined midair. That usually doesn't end well.
As a Kentucky bunch, Matt, will they take some cheap shots? As our neighbors to the north, will they do that to you?
Maybe in this spot, yeah. maybe. I mean, they just a miracle for them just to get out of the first round. That was disgusting.
They're gross. Yeah, they have no business.
I guess it balanced out, and Vandy's kind of the overinflated ball rimmed out.
What do you think?
Or else they would have won the miracle shot.
It goes out.
Tony, my sweet mother-to-be wife.
Yes.
Here in a couple weeks. She texted me and said, I'll call in. What do you want me to say, though? Whatever you want, sweetie.
Your sweet wife.
It's your world.
How far along is she?
I just do. We're like 4.5, 5 weeks out.
Oh, God bless you, man.
I don't know how far along that is. I just know how far.
I'm so happy. I'm so excited for you guys. I love her. She's so precious. And I love you too. But if you're ever late, I'm going to whip you. Oh, never mind.
Apparently,
he actually has to do every Sunday rubber game from here on, Tom.
So every Sunday rubber game,
home and away.
Home and away. I mean,
if you want the team to win,
I don't think so, Matt. That's fun. We're winning next week anyway. We're putting the kibosh on that in short order. We're winning next week, right?
Yeah, they need to do that. They need to win Sunday next week so that I'm off the hook. You know
we might even get a podcast next week.
I heard 2 of them. I heard there will be 2.
See, love you guys. Thanks.
Again, the basketball thing, man. The basketball.
The basketball thing's tough. Yeah, even Willie's tied up with the basketball.
Back
thing
with
right
you
now.
for overtime after Tennessee basketball beats Virginia. Be good. I'm out.
Call the shot. Oh, take your proper popcorn. This looks nice. Yeah, man, they like you.
I'm going to my folks' place.
If they don't love you. Nice. All right, hang on here. Put it in reverse. Counting. She is. Imagine 35 years with me. Goodness gracious. All right, send it live. Here we go. In 3, in 2, and Tony Basilio wishing you a great, warm Sunsplash Sunday afternoon as the Volunteers get it done today against Missouri, win 2 out of 3 after Friday's pretty listless and lifeless performance. And I'm just going to call the shot right here. The freshman Appenzeller changed the weekend for the Vols.